Now back to Senior Matters on the Big WECK.
Welcome back to Senior Matters on the Big WECK. I'm Joe Chillie. With us in studio today, Eric Conrad, who is the owner-operator of Junk Luggers. Good morning. Welcome. Glad to have you here this morning.
Morning, Joe. Thank you. Likewise.
I have to tell you that, I've constantly used the term lug. I lug this from here to there. Go lug that thing over here. I don't think I've ever seen it in print. I thought it was just like a vernacular. Now, this is just a word that we use.
Right.
But junk luggers is like a perfect term. That's great.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's lug is an underserved verb, I suppose. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's a part of our brand, Junk Luggers, JUNKLUGGERS. So yeah, it's catchy. It's got a great name. We have some vibrant colors, and from a branding perspective, I think it hits pretty hard.
So what kind of things are we talking about? Is this like? This is probably a great time right now because it's spring.
Correct.
Spring cleaning. Everybody's getting rid of things. I go down the street, and I've never been one for this, but my ex-wife was always big into this. But I go down the street, see things sitting alongside of the road. You're not charged for it, but maybe you pick it up and you redo it or you refurnish it or whatever the case may be. So what kind of things are we talking about that you work with?
Yeah, so good question. Any unwanted household items, we do some corporate jobs as well. So and think of an office that's closing or downsizing. We'll take cubicles and office furniture and things like that. From a household perspective, we can take anything, unwanted furniture, appliances, boxes of items that you haven't seen in years that are in your attic or in your basement or out in your shed. We do some light demo work as well. So if you've got say an above ground pool that no one swims in anymore, it's becoming a bit of an eyesore, we're able to take that down. If you have a dilapidated shed, we can do that as well. So any light demo that involves a sledgehammer, sawzall, and a little bit of elbow grease or oomph from our crew, we can essentially take the structure down and pack it into our truck and take it away responsibly.
Now, I'm not as talented as you guys are. I just want you to know that when I was in my teens, my brother and I, we had an above-ground pool in our parents' house in the Falls, and we were playing the game Jarts. And the Jart went into the side of the pool. I'm not saying who threw it, my brother Mike or myself, but the pool immediately collapsed and ended up in the basement. At least the water from the pool ended up in the basement. Yeah, but no, so this is
Sure.
much better to do it. So
I've come across Jarts. So they're tucked away in a number of Western New York basements for sure.
yeah, they're probably, I don't think they'd be selling them today because
No, they're not.
they were metal tipped.
They are. Yeah. I have a set in our warehouse that we, when we're feeling responsible, we'll bust out.
Just remember, anything that goes up must come down. That's the thing.
Of course.
What about the things that is it your service tax deductible? I guess one of the things I'm looking at is, I love my dad. He passed away a number of years ago, but he was a collector. He had like 3 sheds full of things that we had to go through, and I may be odd, but there's a lot of things that just don't have sentimental value to me.
Sure.
So can someone say to you, look, I don't want to go through this stuff. Can you just pick it up and take it?
Absolutely. And interesting way to phrase it. We do donations on behalf of our customers all the time. So things are tax deductible. And part of our service level agreement with a customer is that we will make an effort to donate those items to a local charity and divert putting it into a landfill or taking it to a transfer station like you would with your typical household garbage. And so we partner with Habitat for Humanity, Goodwill of Western New York, are probably our top 2, AMVETS, Salvation Army. We'll take the items as long as they're in donatable condition and there's some perceived retail value by those charities. They'll accept them, and in turn, we'll provide our customer with a tax-deductible receipt. And we typically try and do that within 14 business days.
What if you're getting rid of items that aren't usable? For lack of a better term, that are junk.
Right.
Maybe you have a lawnmower, just doesn't work anymore. What do I do with this thing? You know what I mean? Or things like that.
Yeah, so metal, lawnmowers typically metal, we will responsibly recycle that. So we work with some local recyclers. There's some scrap value for us, which helps offset our costs for disposal. So it's a win-win there. We do the recycling for the environmental reasons, and it also helps the economics of disposal for us. So we will certainly sort out items as we load a truck. So let's say, use the example as a lawnmower as well, that you hire our team to come do a garage clean out, and you've got a number of chemicals, and you've got like your weed killers, your fertilizers, and so forth, and along with some, chemicals you use to wax a car or
gasoline.
Exactly, kerosene, gasoline, things like that. So what we'll do is, upon loading these items in a truck, we'll sort them out because everything has a different destination. So anything metal we'll typically put on last so we can pull that off, and we bring it back to our warehouse and put it in a larger receptacle for when it's time to have it recycled. And then when you're talking about chemicals, we'll sort out the household chemicals, and we have a partner that we use locally for responsible destruction or processing chemicals. So we'll do those things as well. And then things that are just junk, I mean, unfortunately, if they don't have a second chance, so to speak, then we ultimately will bring them to some of our partners that we use for rubbish transfer stations and things like that. So, but by all means, that's typically our last resort. We try and do landfill diversion as part of our mission as a company.
Senior Matters on the Big WECK is brought to you by Independent Health. The red shirts are all about your health. And PB Elder Law, Buffalo's trusted elder law firm. And this morning, we're talking to Eric Conrad, who is the owner-operator of Junk Luggers. And we should mention, it is the website www.junkluggersofnorthtowns.com. Did I get that right?
You did get that right. We're in the process of acquiring the Southtowns.
Okay.
So the Junk Luggers is a franchise operation. I was a COVID casualty of corporate America, which is my shining achievement so far. So, interesting story. I just sort of midway through my career had another 20 to 25 years on the dashboard in terms of working in
collecting money, salary,
the labor market. Correct.
Right.
And the big disruptor, the big reset button, which was the COVID pandemic. I ended up on furlough and then ultimately was laid off. And I looked at this as a grand opportunity to own my own business. And so, as the saying goes, with franchising, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And I found somebody locally that pitched me on 4 or 5 concepts. Junk Luggers came back to me, and I decided, I'm going to go in on this. And so I looked at Buffalo is essentially 2 territories in the eyes of the franchise. Mm-hmm. And I said, pick one. And I picked the North Towns from the standpoint of its density. It's just easier to serve. You make your way up Transit Road. You've got a whole community, East Amherst on your left, and on your right is Clarence. So it's very dense. Same with Niagara Falls Boulevard. Mm-hmm. You go up and you've got Tonawanda, and you've got Kenmore,
Wheatfield,
Yeah, it's all very kind of compact and
growing areas too.
Absolutely, for sure, growing and then there's a lot of longevity. Look, the families in those communities as well. People have owned those houses for 40, 50 years, and there's a lot of opportunity for us to serve. So I chose the North Towns first, and currently we are in the process of acquiring the South Towns as well. So soon we'll go through a DBA change, and we'll become Junk Luggers of Buffalo in its entirety. I will mention we do service the entire Western New York area, so currently, and we will continue to expand on that. So any points from Lakeview all the way up to Lewiston are all inbounds for us.
That's where I live, Lewiston. So I think that it's interesting that you mentioned COVID because a number of us work from home during COVID. Mm-hmm. And I think that we noticed 2 things. We noticed all the repairs that are needed in our homes that we never saw before because we're always home for like 15 minutes. We're running here, running there, running here, right?
Correct.
The other thing is all the junk that we have in our house. Mm-hmm. I got to tell you, you look in the basement and you're like, where did I get all these, plastic canisters of things that don't really mean anything, or they're paper material, or, you have 2 computer printers that no longer work, computer hard drives, whatever it might be. So this is really interesting. What about, question in everybody's mind is always cost. Do you do estimates for people?
Absolutely. No obligation estimates. You can call and get on our schedule by dialing 1-800-LUG-JUNK, so 1-800-LUG-JUNK. Either myself or my operations manager will come out, provide you with a no obligation estimate. We'll get a look at exactly what you want to have removed, give you a ballpark of what we think that will translate to in terms of volume on our truck. And we give you essentially, well, for lack of better terms, a worst case scenario. So as part of our guarantee, green guarantee, is that we will provide you with an estimate and we will not charge you more than what we initially stated. So what I like to do is kind of under promise, over deliver.
Over deliver?
Yeah, that's the saying I was trying to hit. So
no, that's really good. And I think that, the thing that's important with listeners this morning, seniors, our audience especially, is a lot of them are downsizing. I've had this big house. Kids are gone now. They're off to college. They've gotten married, whatever. I need something smaller. I could probably get a lot of money for this house right now, or whatever.
Sure.
So people think, let's downsize. And you, in our last minute here, so you guys can really help them do that and help them organize and downsize, right?
100%. So we do work with some professional organizers. So if it's a gargantuan task, contact us. We can refer you to somebody that can help you pare down your items. But we certainly will do that. We get into those situations all the time. We're very mindful that these are things that have been in your life for a long time. So we do our best to get them a second home. And we work with those charities that will provide these items for the less fortunate. So your items will have a second chance. And we do so with, very good service record and a very good demeanor when working with our customers. So I want to press that home as well.
Give us your website once again.
Yep. So www.junkluggersofnorthtowns.com, or you can simply just do a Google search on the Junk Luggers and we'll come right up.
All right. Eric Conrad, owner-operator of Junk Luggers. Thanks for joining us this morning on Senior Matters.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.